Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I am Aaron Loomis, and with me, as always, is Jiunn Liu. How you doing, Jiunn?
Good.
So today we are talking about the Illusione Rothchildes Connecticut. This is I guess, true Rothschild size, 4.5 inch by 50 ring gauge. Comes out of the Tapso factory in Nicaragua. Wrapper is Ecuadorian Connecticut shade, and the binder and filler are both listed as Nicaraguan. Blended by Dion Giolito, and the price point is $5.50, and the cigar was released in July of 2016. So with those cigar details out of the way, June, what was your pre-light experience like?
First, on the look of the cigar, it was kind of an ugly looking cigar. The sample that I had, Claro shared wrapper, but I had like 2, 3 little spots that was green spots, like under fermented tobacco. So that was disappointing to see because I typically see it on Cuban cigars, but not non-Cuban stuff. But it's all right. Veins, I thought was roughly pressed. Seams are tight, but it was visible. The rolling bunch felt spot on. No soft spots, uniform give. The head had a well-applied double cap. Nosing the cigar, I got off the wrapper cedar, barnyard, and a little bit of white pepper. Smelling the foot, I got some dry nuts and white pepper. At the cold draw, I was able to get some typical dry cardboard, hay, and a little bit of white pepper going. So overall, an average presentation.
Yeah, the cigar had a light tan wrapper, a couple of raised veins. There were a couple of greenish spots on the wrapper, just like you were mentioning. Seams were visible but smooth. There appeared to be two caps. The top cap had a vein protruding on the edge of one of them, so I was a little worried about that because that's one of my biggest pet peeves on some cigars. The band is the standard Rothschild band, but rather than the red background and side lettering, it was kind of more of a burnt orange on the Connecticut version here. And the aroma from the wrapper was a faint cardboard, while the foot aroma was a pretty full dry hay. Pre-light draw was kind of that same dry hay that I was getting from the foot aroma, and I also had a little bit of a spicy tingle on my lips. So flavor-wise, what was your experience like first third to final third?
First, second, third, very good. Last third, average. So more specifically, starting from the first third, right off the bat, I got sweet cream, dry nuttiness, hay, and dry wood. And I had a very nice mouth-layering black pepper to it. And excuse me, the cigar had a really unique, like a herb kind of a spice to it. And I ID that as baking spices. Perhaps that sounds a little generic, but that was the best that I could give. So love that baking note, kind of a spice to it. Through the retro, I got some increased black pepper, cedar, dry nuts. Finish had lasting notes of baking spice, a tongue layering black pepper, and dry wood. In terms of body and strength, medium throughout the whole cigar. Moving on to the second third. A little bit more baking spice and toned down sweet cream. I still got the same notes, the dry nuts, hay, and dry wood. I started getting a wood bitterness to it, and it was enough, and it wasn't overbearing. It was really good to kind of round out the other flavors with it. Same retro, elevated black pepper, cedar, dried nuts. Finishers also unchanged with lasting notes of baking spice, tongue layering black pepper, and dry wood. The last third kind of took a dive in terms of and decrease in complexities. And I was namely able to get dry wood, black pepper, and faint bread. Really miss out on that cream, kind of the sweetness that I had within the first couple of thirds. In the retro, same. And the finish was more dominant with dry wood, wood bitterness, and faint black pepper. So all in all, the first 2 thirds of smoking this was very good for me. And that last third kind of tapered off, and it was just kind of eh.
Yeah, for me, the cigar started out with that, I think maybe that similar interesting spice note. To me, it was a little reminiscent of nutmeg, but it didn't really quite fit that full profile of how I would describe nutmeg. So maybe we hadn't had that similar note there. There was also some wood in the background. The retro hill was also carrying that interesting spice flavor. A quarter inch in, a good amount of cream joined the profile, and it diluted that spice while the wood was still in the background. And then at 3/4 of an inch in, the profile kind of morphed into a slightly spicy and creamy cedar. Retro is very creamy cedar with a little bit of spice in the background. And that's kind of how the first third finished up. And strength was mild medium at that point. Second third, spice had completely gone away and left a very creamy cedar. And then at a 1/2 inch in, that cedar transitioned to like a general woodiness while I was getting a nice dose of cream there. As the third was kind of coming to the end, that cream dropped back quite a bit. And that general woodiness was what the primary component was. And the strength in that third was right at medium. Final third, the cream increased back up to mix with the wood. And then at a 1/2 inch in, that cream reduced again, and that wood became kind of more defined as oak and moved up more up front. The retrohale was like a nice warm oak, and that's kind of how the cigar finished out. And the strength had bumped up just a little bit to be slightly above medium. So performance-wise, for burn and draw, what was your experience like?
Very good burn and good draw. So first with the burn, I was able to smoke the cigar in an hour and 30 minutes, which is incredible for Rothschild size. So the cigar burned evenly and cool. I had a lot of smoke production in this guy as well, and slightly flowery ashes, averaging 1 inch increments. Burn line fairly razor sharp throughout the whole time. So very good burn. The draw was good, but the example I had was it was a little too loose and effortless. Even though this didn't cause the cigar to overheat or burn too hot in general, it was pretty close to like breathing air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me the burn was very good. It was a little jagged at times, but it always kept up with itself, so there was really no issues with that. And the draw was just a little looser than I prefer, but it didn't cause any issues. It didn't heat up, and I felt it, allowed the cigar to smoke as it normally would. So very good draw as well. So overall, what were your thoughts?
I really liked the cigar. I think, within such a wide array of Connecticut shades that we smoked this year and reviewed, I think this is pretty unique. And the uniqueness comes in the form of that baking spice, like you were saying, that nutmeg. And I was even at one point thinking, like, is this like a cardamom thing? Like,
right.
That alone was very unique for me. But even though that was unique, it was surrounded by a really good cast of other flavors with more of a classic, Connecticut shade flavors such as like cream and nuttiness. So I dug it. I almost feel like after I smoke this, I'm gonna light up the Mexican San Andreas Rothschild, and that'll be probably a perfect like 2.5 hours smoking experience for me.
Right. Yeah. I thought this cigar smoked with the exact same spirit as the original Rothschilds. It's a rustic, not very pretty looking cigar. Provides full flavors, great smoking experience, low price point. Both do the same job, just different. You got different flavor profiles. I also think it's another great addition to the all the new Connecticut's that came out this year. So just like the original, this comes in, I think, those boxes of 50 or whatever. So I see people buying these in those big boxes and just going to town on these things and just smoking them regularly, maybe daily smokes or whatever. It's definitely something I could see going back to often. And I think it's a really great addition to the Illusione portfolio, and Dion did a really good job on this cigar. So getting into the scores, I gave this a 6.67. You gave it a 7.47. How do you think your score matches up?
Matches up well. I have very good for first and second third, average experience on the last third, and coupled by good construction. And overall, it's a really good cigar. And at that $5 or whatever price point, like, I'll pitch it after smoking the second third.
Yeah. My score matches up perfectly. I mean, really good smoking experience and really good flavors and things like that. So the price point's fantastic. That doesn't ever factor into our scores at all, but that's just a bonus on top of it. So it's great, and I think I think this cigar is one of those perfect examples to kind of explain why we don't let the pre-light experience kind of factor into our score, because it can look ugly, but it can taste fantastic and it can smoke great. So why do you penalize it because it doesn't look good? The only people I think that really care about how it looks is like a status smoker. So
Right.
gotta have a nice pretty band. It has to have a nice, very nice looking wrapper. I know some manufacturers will say, the band doesn't. I mean, the wrapper doesn't look good enough to be a wrapper. I can understand that, but there's times where, especially on a cigar that's $5.50, it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing. If you get a really good experience out of it at that great price point, I'm fine for sacrificing looks to get the flavor and the performance. So
yeah.
just
Also, on top of that, I'll say, to go along with what you're saying, also within the pre-light nosing experience is not indicative of the actual smoking experience.
Yeah,
right?
rarely are you going to get something that translates. Like, you a lot of times you get cardboard. You don't, very rarely do you ever mention cardboard in your flavor notes from smoking it.
Yeah.
And I don't, I don't really mention hay in the smoking notes, but I get a ton on the pre-light draw. So that really doesn't translate. So I think it's just another way to liven up the review with some more opinion or things like that. But that's why we didn't include it as a scoring category, because we just don't think it matters in the rating of a cigar.
Mm-hmm.
So, any other final thoughts after I went on a rant?
No, that's a bring up. I mean, I can't think of a better example than talking about this one with pre-light experience. So
yeah. Well, if you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us, but also go to the website, developingpalates.com, to read the full written review. And subscribe to us on social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next video.